Yes, welcome back to the YouTube channel. Today's going to be a little bit more of a different video than the ones that I've posted already on my channel to do with training, etc. Today is just going to be me and the camera talking about things, and let me know if you find this sort of video useful, because I'm really enjoying creating the longer term format of content, and it's something that I'm going to be providing a lot more insight, a lot more value into over really the next 9 months. And one of the next videos that I'm going to be doing is going to be talking exactly about what my plans are personally and with the business over the next 9 months. Now, 9 months is the key, I guess, but I'll reveal that in the next video. Today is going to be talking more about training splits. I absolutely love training. I've been training myself in the gym now for over 12 years, really. And I would say professionally, and learning about it and expanding my knowledge base on it really for the last maybe 6 years or so. The first period of that was trial and error, which I think everyone goes through that sort of stage, which is perfectly fine, perfectly normal. I enjoyed it. It probably wasn't the most effective, but it doesn't matter. It's when you're first getting into something, right? So this is something that I absolutely love. I absolutely love training. Initially got into it more for how I wanted to look, and I still want to look good. I don't think there's anything wrong with people wanting to look good with training and with bettering themselves, but it's a lot more now for this. However, today I'm going to be covering a topic to do with like training splits and what is the best training split. Now, without it being a bit too clickbaity, I do want to sort of state that the sort of people that I work with aren't elite level athletes. They're not bodybuilders. I work with general population. I work with everyday normal people that have jobs, that have families, have commitments. It's not their job to be in the best shape in the world. These are people that want to get in better shape, but we have to take into consideration their real life as well. And that's where we come in as a coaching service. But I think it's a topic that comes up a hell of a lot with what is the most optimal and what is the best training split. Now, what I would say is, and without bursting the bubble, and like I say, without being too clickbaity with the title, there is no best training split out there. Unfortunately, people might disagree with me. There is no best training split. There might be more optimal ones, but it's like your diet. The best training split and the best diet is the one that you can stick to consistently over time. Now, that might just be a nothing answer, and I'm going to delve into it a little bit more, but that's what it comes down to. It's what can you commit to and what can you hit with certain levels of intensity, execution, everything like that. What can you do consistently over time? That's going to be the best training split for you. However, there are a few caveats to that, and that's what I'm going to be delving into. It comes down to how often can you train? That's something that I ask when I have consultations with clients, like how often is feasible for you to train? I'm not going to tell someone who is short of time, who is a company director, who works and travels on the road non-stop. I'm not going to say to someone like that who only really has maybe 2 or 3 hours a week they can dedicate to their fitness. I'm not going to say to him, you need to be training 5 times a week with a bro split. It's just not optimal. However, what I was saying earlier is any training program will get you some level of results, but then it comes down to that consistency side of things again, right? So for the way that I'm going to structure this video is going to be, if you can only commit 3 hours of your week to your training, if you only have 3 times a week where you can get in the gym and you can lift some weights and do some cardio, etc., then what would be the most optimal training split for that person? This is where it can be quite fun. This is where the variety comes in. This is where I like to play around with my clients' programs quite a lot, because there's a lot you can do with it, but there's a lot that needs to be taken into consideration about what actually makes sense. And another caveat that comes down to this is experience, I would say, and what you enjoy. You've got to enjoy it to stick to it. What I would say, if you have just 3 hours a week where you can train, and realistically you can get in the gym 3 times a week, it would make sense to hit multiple body parts every session, i.e. something like a full body split, where you're hitting every muscle group in each of the 3 workouts. There's no point in going in doing chest on one day, back on another day, and then legs, because you're going to miss out on shoulders, you're going to miss out on arms. It just doesn't make any sense. So if you can train and commit to 3 times a week, I would go for a full body approach. If, however, you do have maybe more specific training goals, or you want to bring up a certain area of your body, for example, for me, for this year, it's going to be my shoulders and my arms, then I might prioritize my upper body a little bit more than my lower body. So if I can train 3 times a week, I might go for an upper, lower, upper split, where I'm hitting my upper body with a little bit more frequency, and then I'm having one big leg day in the middle. What I would say with a split like that, and if you can only train 3 times a week, and you're putting in just one lower day, and let's flip it round as well. If you want to bring up your legs or your glutes, and maybe you're prioritizing that and you hit a lower, upper, lower, what I would say is on those days where you're training just upper once or just lower once, you want to be going all out and binning yourself, because it's then going to be a whole other week until you hit that body part again or those muscle groups again. This is my issue with things like a bro split, for example. If you can train 5 times a week, great. But so many people will train chest on a Monday, back on a Tuesday, shoulders on a Wednesday, legs on a Thursday, that sort of thing. If you're an elite level bodybuilder, maybe you're running some gear as well, then yeah, you could probably get away with that, because again, it comes down to that experience and that sort of thing. But there's really no need as a general population person to be hitting 8 exercises of chest on a Monday and then 7 to 8 exercises of back on a Tuesday. Your body will recover a hell of a lot quicker, and all you're doing is leaving extra potential gains on the table, because you won't be hitting chest again until the following Monday. Your chest will be recovered by day 2 or day 3, again, depending on experience. The more experienced you are, the less DOMs you're going to be getting as well, the less muscle soreness you'll be getting, so you'll recover faster. It's likely that your diet will probably be a little bit better as well, so you're getting in more protein to help repair and recover those muscle groups. So it really doesn't make sense to just hit one muscle group per session. So 3 times a week, I would go for a full body approach, depending on what you want to improve on. You could maybe look at an upper, lower, upper, or a lower, upper, lower. That's probably what I'd lean towards, but more often than not, hit a full body session each time you go in, making sure that you're getting adequate volume throughout each muscle group. Now, if you can train just 2 times a week, which yes, you can get results, but you're going to have to be hitting some serious intent and intensity if you want to get great results. Again, I would go for a full body approach. There's absolutely no reason to be splitting up muscle groups, or even upper and lower, if you can only train twice a week. But you have to be hitting that really, really hard in order to get a good response for results. Now let's move on to 4 times a week. This is what I would say 99% of my clients train 3 to 4 times a week. And I'd say 4 times is a great amount. It doesn't really matter, but for what you can do training programming wise, there's so much more that you can play around with, I think, with 4 times a week. So something that I personally have run before and that I would run is either an upper, lower split, where you're hitting upper body twice a week and lower body twice a week, or, because I like to bring up my upper body a little bit more, because in the past I've been playing a lot of football, my legs don't recover well with training lower body twice a week. I'm not playing football at the moment, so at the moment I am training my lower body twice a week, but back then I wasn't really doing it. So what I would run on a 4-day week split is something like a push, pull, lower, upper, something like that. But there's so much you can play around with. I would say, again, it comes down to a little bit more of your experience, what you want to specifically work on as well. But other examples of what you could do, there's just so many out there. You could do something like a push, pull, lower and a full body, or you could do 4 full bodies. There's so many things that you can do with 4 sessions a week. Now, if you are someone that likes to and wants to train 5 times a week, absolutely fine. It's not a case of more is better with training. It really comes down to how quickly you can recover, what you can commit to in the long term, because what I've found before in the past with working some clients, they want to train 4 or 5 times a week and they end up missing sessions here and there, and then they're missing out on some of the body parts that I've programmed in, so they would actually benefit from 3 times way more. It doesn't matter really doesn't matter. I don't know if you can hear that screaming going on. Hopefully not too much. It really doesn't matter. So with 5 times a week, and that's what I'm training at the moment, and my current split at the moment looks like a lower session on a Monday, and then I'm hitting a push-pull, and then depending on what my week's looking like, I might take a rest day after that pull session. Before then I hit another lower body day and then an upper body day. So there's lots of frequency in there. I'm really wanting to bring up my legs as well this year. Like I say, I'm not playing football at the moment, so I want to be bringing up my legs and just to give a nice complete look of my physique. But I love training upper body. So I've got 3 upper body days, 2 lower body days. That's something you could do there. Another one that I've run before when I was playing football, training 5 times a week, would be a push-pull, lower, push-pull again. Or something like a push-pull lower, chest and back, and then shoulders and arms. Sometimes it's nice just to rip the head off it with training the arms at the end of the week. And that would be called an Arnold split. That's quite a popular one at the moment. You don't have to do it in that order though. It doesn't have to be push-pull. You could do the chest and back and then the shoulders and arms, then the lower, and then you could do a push-pull at the end of the week. You can play around with it, whatever suits you best. As most people know, Monday is International Chest Day. So what I do for a lot of my clients programming, and sometimes for myself, where I am at the moment, it's absolutely dead. So I can train what I want when I want. I'm very lucky in that sense. For some of my clients, I swap their push round and we do pull push first, because 90% of people, especially lads, are going to be training push or chest on a Monday. So the benches are taken up, the cables are taken up. So you can play around with it, whatever suits you the best. What I would say is, if possible, try to split up that training week with the lower day somewhere in the middle. And again, absolutely gonna have to bin yourself if you're training legs 1 day a week and you wanna make sure that they're looking good, yeah? If I've got a couple of people at the moment that play football and they train on a Wednesday and play on a Saturday, what we're doing is training legs on a Monday, so they've got enough time to recover in between training and their match days. If you don't have that sort of thing going on at the moment in terms of sport and stuff like that, try and break up your week and put legs in the middle. Now, of course you can train 6, 7 days a week. Of course you can. I probably, for 99% of people, wouldn't recommend it. That's where I'll maybe look at, okay, can you chuck in some cardio? Can we get some extra steps in? Obviously goal dependent as well. But you can create your training program over a 6-day week instead of a 7-day week, if that kind of makes sense, where your rest days would be different every single week. That's something I've toyed with in the past, but I'm very much someone who likes to train Monday to Friday and then have the weekend off, or like I'm gonna be doing or trialing at the moment, and I'm definitely doing it this week, is having a rest in between and then training on Friday, Saturday, and then have Sunday as a rest day. I find it easier to just manage my diary that way. I like having weekends off as well, where I'll just relax, maybe get some active rest in, do something completely different, go out for the day. Some people love training at the weekends, and that's absolutely fine. But what we want to make sure with any training program is that you are having rest. If you're training 6, 7 days a week, you're not going to have time to rest and recover in between. Now, it's very common, and I definitely used to think this with my training, more is better. And you'd think to yourself, oh, I didn't really feel that session, so I'm gonna go in again and I'll smash the gym again tomorrow. And then the next day, all you're doing is slowing down your progress, really, because you're gonna be growing and recovering. Your muscles are gonna be repairing and building when you are resting, when you're sleeping. So it's so important to make sure that you are taking those rest days in between as well. Now, just touching back on, just because I've just remembered it now, classic. If you're training 3 or 4 times a week, if I was to manage how I would manage that week, let's say training 3 times a week with adequate rest in between, I would look to do something like a Monday, Wednesday, Friday, if possible. Yeah, so you've got rest days in between, because you're hitting muscle groups multiple times a week. You want to be making sure that you are rested and recovered before you go in again. Sometimes it's not going to happen like that. Sometimes you might have to front load your sessions at the start of the week and hit Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. But where you can, make sure you're having rest in between, especially if you're hitting multiple muscle groups per session, which I do recommend. Equally, if you're training 4 times a week, sometimes you might have to front load or back load your sessions to the front or the back end of the week. But try and have a rest in between. If you're hitting upper, lower, then have a rest slap bang in the middle. Hit an upper and a lower, take a rest day, and then hit another upper and a lower. Something like that in an ideal world. But you want to be making sure that you are getting that rest in between, okay? Very, very important. So hopefully it hasn't been too much of a clickbaity video, and I hope you've got some value out of it. There's so much more that I can talk about with the training side of things and programming, etc. But really, what I wanted to say is there is no best training split. The best one is the one that you can stick to, the one that you enjoy, the one that you are progressing on and that works on your goals. Now, if you don't really know where to go with that sort of information and you want a bit more of a hand, then feel free to drop me a message on Instagram. I will more than happily talk to you about what I would do and how to structure workouts, etc. as well. So keep an eye out for more videos like this I'm going to be doing. Let me know getting attacked by a fly. Let me know if you find this sort of style beneficial. There's so much more I want to be bringing to this channel. Like I say, especially over the next 9 months, I want to be providing as much value and insight into what I do as a coach and what I'm doing personally with my physique and my fitness goals. So keep an eye out for that. Let me know if you like this video. I'll see you in the next one.